Hello and welcome back. Hello, I don't know why I said hello there. To episode 11 of the Let's Be Honest podcast with myself, Peter, Paul, and Stuart. As always,
right. The big pause at the end of that pistol.
I was waiting on a reaction.
Well, it's just like I suppose. It's like the world that we live in now. After you speak, you have to wait for a huge length of time before anybody responds.
Yep. Do you know what it is? I've noticed in previous episodes we do sometimes, by the nature of having a realistic conversation, talk over each other. So that's why I was giving you the space to get it out of you.
Mm-hmm. Do you think it's always awkward, even in any conversation, it's hard to get it started? You know, once you get going, it's all right, but it's hard to start it.
I always find it's a lot better after you've had a few babies.
Yeah, that's true as well.
Do you know what I mean? If you were sitting now in, let's assume you were sitting, say, in Malaga or somewhere, and you were sitting outside with a couple of Corona extra strongs.
Mm-hmm. Or Weatherspoons and Ards.
Or, yeah, well, that, one or the other. And that, it makes it flow. But when you're sitting in like 14 degrees in flaming June, you think, what the hell's the point? And funny enough, I was just on a website there, Pistol, before you came
Pornhub.
Yep. That's quite accessible, actually, isn't it?
Accessible.
Looking at cruises there.
Oh.
No, you said you'd never do it again.
Well, here's the story. A good friend of mine...
Harry One.
Yep. Buggered off yesterday. Booked it a week ago. Got an all-inclusive deal to Rhodes.jet2.com if they want to sponsor the show. Hotel, transfers, the whole malarkey for like £900 for 10 days.
That's very good.
Now, would you not be better lying out there as sitting here?
But it's a strange time of year. Not everybody's free to do that. So obviously, that's a great deal.
How's it a strange time of year? What's that mean? So
it's a random time of year to just
holiday time?
Just to be able to take off in the middle of the week.
Well, I was looking. But sure, if it's holiday time, it doesn't matter what day you go. You get your 2 weeks and then you come back.
Some people have children.
Some people have jobs.
Pistol, you have kids
and a job.
I could actually ask you, once you finish your story, I could actually ask your advice, because at 2 o'clock, basically 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning, the other morning, I booked my first all-inclusive.
Right.
Oh, you did you?
Yeah.
Right, well, let me finish my story first.
Yeah, you finish your story, yeah.
Thanks very much. That's very kind of you. So anyway, looked it up there. Going out of Southampton, there's two options. There's one for Eastern Mediterranean and there's one for Gran Canaria. And it's about 1,100 quid, okay? Mm-hmm. All inclusive. Well, it looks great. But see, once you go on to start adding on your bits and pieces, like I would have to have a balcony. I couldn't sit in an inside room. I would have to have a balcony. I'd have to be able to see out. And the drinks package, because I'd have to have the drinks, it's then coming up at nearly $2,000. Now, is that expensive for 14 days holiday?
But again, probably at this time of year, it's all right. It's average.
Less than £200 a day, isn't it?
Yeah. And imagine if you were paying for those drinks, you know what I mean?
Oh God, you couldn't go on a cruise without taking the drinks package, boys. Let me just advise you of that.
Yeah.
From my last experience, because like gin and tonics and gin and bitter lemons are 15 euros a go, or dollars as they are. So by the time you'd run that up, you'd have $100 spent a night. And the way I drink, goodness sake,
like a fish.
Fish. Oh, great white. Great white or beluga. Call me beluga. Shamu beluga.
Do you not feel quite claustrophobic on a cruise?
Listen, I was very concerned about that until the first one I went on. You do get a wee bit sort of like you've been all around the boat, and especially a day at sea, you've been all around and there's nowhere else to go, but you can always refer back to the pub. But I think I may have told you this before. The problem with the one I went on, I thought it was around March time, but it was around the one of the bank holidays or something. And it was just rammed with kids, and it was just like Butlins on the water. And the buffet food wasn't great, and the meal time was too early at 5:30, and things like that, which you can't change. But referring back to the Wang fella there, he booked
So it
roads.
just sounds like he's got a big dick.
Couldn't comment.
So, because obviously you've done the whole cruise thing, do you get enough time to go and see the place really?
No,
when you're there for
absolutely not. 100%.
You don't?
No. One of the places I really wanted to go to was Malta, and it stopped in Malta, but it didn't pull into Malta till like 11 o'clock, and then you had to be back on again for 5 o'clock. So by the time you get off, get the bus, get a bit of a tour around Malta, a quick beer, and back on. And the other thing is, I don't know if you've ever watched them or not, but they're very, very funny on YouTube. The people who miss the boat.
Yes.
They get back too late and they're running down the dock. And they miss the bloody boat, and the thing goes on without you, and it's tough.
What do you do in that? You have to get the flight then?
You have to get a flight to the next port.
Flip.
Or and let's assume maybe that's around the Caribbean. There may not be an airport at the next port. There may not even be an airport at the port you've missed.
So
Jesus.
what would you say is better, price considered? Is it better to go on a really nice cruise with the various stops and the drinks packages and whatnot, or to go off somewhere like, I don't know, Jamaica or Mauritius or Mexico and just stay in the one location but just live it up?
Well, here's the other story too, right? I have a friend who's been to the Dominican Republic. Now, I've never been to the Dominican Republic. And they went to said republic, all-inclusive, in your hotel on the beach and blah, blah, blah. But you can't get out of it. Because if you go out of it, at the back, it's just full of shanty towns and people that'll mug you. And if you are going to go out, you have to have an escort out and an escort back in again. And in fact, another friend I was talking to the other day had been to South Africa. And he left the hotel. He needed to go to the hole in the wall. And your man says, you have to wait until we get you a police escort.
Flip.
Because they'll mug you at the hole in the wall.
Do you know, when we were kids, we used to go to those sorts of places quite regularly, for the family holiday every year. And I remember, like the likes of Jamaica, Mauritius, and all those sorts of places. And I remember like that journey from the airport to the resort, which, as you say, you never left because you were told not to. Yeah, you just saw absolute poverty, which it sort of stays in your mind, as you then are whisked into like luxury.
And I remember wooden elephant and giraffe and that sort of tat.
And I remember every day when you'd be on the beach, they'd be over with like, what the melons or the whatever, like slicing them all up, trying to sell those to you. Like, but I remember at the time, obviously, my dad always saying like, enjoy this. You never know, when you're older, you may not be able to afford to go on a holiday like this. Enjoy it. But when you're a kid, it means absolutely nothing to you. You may as well be in Portugal.
Yeah, because it's free.
Aye.
But I went to Donegal, Jamaica, and Donegal.
There's nothing wrong with Donegal. Imagine spending a fortnight.
Well, some people live in Lisburn.
Imagine spending a fortnight in Lisburn. Who in their right mind is going to book a hotel and spend a fortnight in Lisburn?
It's what's the word I'm looking for?
Represented.
Miss Soul, all of that. And you turn up to a city centre that closes at 8 p.m.
Well, I hope you're not referring to Lisburn as a city, are you?
Remember there was that advert for Lisburn as well?
Oh, the City for Life.
The City for Life, yeah.
Yeah.
Where did that come from?
Denise Watson. The City for Life. The City for fun. The City for entertainment.
I grew up in Lisbon, so I can say all of this. So it's, to be honest, I'd rather just stay at home.
Oh, see, you've fallen into that old. You're falling into that old sort of settled down child. Life's cool. The next thing you'll be getting a dog.
But you know what it is? It's that when you think of just walking out of the house and going somewhere, it's not like you have to do 10 things before you even get to the door of the house and then get out. You have to grab the bag. You have to make sure the bag's packed. Has the bag got nappies in it? Is there juice there? Is there snacks in the bag? Is there wipes that you've brought there? Are your coats in the car in case it rains? It's a nightmare at times when you can't just rush out the door.
And what do you bring for the baby?
2 bottles of Heineken.
0%.
0%.
Right. I need advice for my holiday, right?
Oh, lucky you can afford one.
No, but this was stupid. This was 2:00 in the morning, and I was just thinking. I had a couple of friends who are away at the minute, and I just had to just go on. You know how they get you? They say, "Oh, you can pay £60 today, and that's you booked." This is the problem. You're not paying the full price there and then. You're just paying the wee tiny deposit.
How much was it?
1,100
for 4 nights.
Yeah.
4 nights.
Where is it?
Where the hell are you staying for 4 nights?
This was the cheapest. This was the cheapest I could find.
£1,100 for 4 nights.
Inclusive. All inclusive.
Where?
For 3, or as the kids eat free?
For two. No, for two. Okay. In Mallorca.
Pistol, please don't tell me you're flying to Mallorca for 4 nights for £1,100.
Yeah, because it was 548 per person, all inclusive
for 4 nights.
For 4 nights, is that bad?
That seems quite dear. I think that I know people paying that for like 10 nights.
That was the cheapest. On 2 of those days, you're actually flying. So you're flying in, you're staying that night. That's one.
I feel like if you'd have booked this earlier, you would have got it a lot cheaper.
But that was the cheapest. Like there was ones that were like 600, 700.
Where's that? Stand up Ponza?
No, that's where is that? Oh, hang on, where am I?
How the hell would you know where that is? A picture of the beach.
Hang on, it's not focusing.
Pistol, who have you
tell us where it is?
I don't know, I can't pronounce it.
Who have you bought this off?
EasyJet Holidays.
Can Pastilla.
Calais de Mallorca.
Calais de Mallorca.
Calais de Mallorca.
It's near Compostela.
Is it?
Yeah.
But that was the cheapest that they had, EasyJet Holidays.
Do you know what? Pistol, look, do you know you were far better doing? Have you spent the £60?
I've paid the deposit, yeah.
Yeah, but why don't you go on to EasyJet or some of those websites, book a bloody flight to Malaga, right? And then go on and booking.com or something like that and book a hotel and do it yourself. Book it up yourself. Sure, you'll get the flights there and back for about 150 quid.
Well, look, do it now let's do it as we're on this.
But I went into Jet 2, right? And Jet 2 all inclusive. The starting price was £700 per person.
Well, you know what Jet 2 can do with that.
But I'm saying I thought that was cheap or was it 548 per person? And
2 nights. That's 4 nights.
No, 4 nights. All yeah.
Right. I'm going.
This is why this is my first experience of going all inclusive to anywhere.
I mean, you can get flights for 130 quid.
Right, Pistol. There's EasyJet. I've just looked it up. They're going out £66 and coming back a week later is 112.
Right, so hang on. So times 2 is 130, say. So 2, let's say. Well, but by the time you add bags and all, that's about 400, 500 quid, though.
Yeah, but
for the 2 people. For the 2 people.
Yeah, but for a week.
Right. But then a hotel is going to be like 100 quid a night.
Well, it depends where you look.
And then plus the food, plus the drink. If it's not all inclusive, you're going to have to buy all that yourself.
Look, that's a fair point, but that's reminding me of the Hello Fresh debate. Right, told you to go and get meat chunks, and then you're telling me the Hello Fresh was like £4 something a serving.
Yeah.
Well, in the all inclusive, it'll not be Hello Fresh; it'll be a hotel.
No, yeah, I get that. Yeah.
And that'll probably be about £2 a serving.
But it's basically going to be working out the same. But it's going to be about £1,000 by the time you get the hotel and buy your food and all, buy your meals every night.
Well, you don't have to buy your meals every night.
Then what are you going to?
Go only have a meal on a Monday and a Wednesday. They're so bad.
I just wanted somewhere to go and sit by a pool. and just
have you tried the leisure centre?
You could do that in a sleep donner. Sit by the pool. Drive down and drive home.
But no, I think it was the right decision.
Pistol, for 4 nights, I'm going to have to disagree with you on that. I don't think that's good value for
the location. Nights. Maybe it did come up. You can go to Greece for was it $380 per person?
I have had disputes with this company in the past, which I don't want to go into in great detail. But have you ever tried or just out of curiosity, try, put in what you want, the amount of people and when you're going and stuff, and try the likes of lastminute.com and see what package they throw at you.
I'm not going down that road.
But I find on that side, when you click in, it's a different price to what they say.
By the time you're finished, by the time you're checking out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've always found that they say, "Oh, it's going to be 800 quid," and then by the time you actually click in, it's not 800.
Well, that cruise, you're starting off at 1,100, but finishing up at nearly $2,000.
But no, 1,100. That was everything. That was bags. That was everything.
Is it a nice hotel?
It was there. It was there 4-star. So whatever that means here.
That's about 3.
I looked at a YouTube video and the guy took me around it.
Did he? Personally?
And yeah, and it looked good.
What year was the YouTube video?
It was 8 months ago.
Aye, right.
The only thing he said, in September it rains for 4 days in September, but he didn't say which 4 days.
Well, let me tell you, did you not see Palma Airport was closed there yesterday because of torrential rain?
Yeah, I did.
The planes actually turned into boats.
Mm-hmm.
So good luck.
And that would be, I know that would be my luck.
But you know what? See, in all fairness, and to be honest, I looked at a hotel for next week for the Pink gig, €600.
Yeah.
For one night?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. There you go. So that puts it into perspective.
So that does throw it into perspective. €600 to stay in Dublin for a night for a Pink gig.
So I got a good deal then.
Well, I'm not going to say that. I think 4 nights is a tad short.
Another thing I wanted to talking about, like, going away on holiday and so on. You know, way people get like tattoos when they're away on holiday.
Tramp stamps.
On like yeah. This came up on my as soon as I booked the holiday. This came up.
Get a free tattoo.
That came up on my page. I don't know if you can see that. Oh. It's now people who are starting to get tattoos on the roof of their mouths.
In the name of God.
So they have like wee symbols in the roof of their mouth.
What's the point? Sure, nobody's ever going to see it.
I know. But this is a guy who specializes, tattoo artist, and I specialize in hidden tattoos on the roof of your mouth.
And then talking about that, I saw a thing on yesterday. This mother wanting to know, did anybody know any tattoo artists who would tattoo her 9-year-old?
Oh God!
Plus, pierce her tongue. Did you ever hear the like of it in your life?
Oh, see,
that's just madness.
Every time you walk past, is it Claire's, that accessory shop, you always see a wee kid sitting in the chair, and I always think it's not better to let them make that decision instead of you doing it for them.
You've all this ahead of you, Pistol.
But I would never do that. I would never, especially the ear pierce thing. It's just.
And what iPhone number do you think you'll be on? Which will be her first iPhone? Which number do you think it'll be?
Jesus, dread to think.
23.
Dread to think.
Daddy, I need an iPhone, Daddy. No, you're not getting one. Daddy, give me an iPhone.
It would be like when I was younger and I had to get new clothes, but they were like it would be a hand down phone. It won't be a brand new phone.
Mm-hmm. Daddy.
Well, I mean, it goes without saying, but I saw a very young girl yesterday, who managed to talk somebody into tattooing her eye, and she now is at risk of losing sight in the eye. Surprise, surprise! And she's, in case you're considering it, she's now appealed the others to not do it.
Oh, that's very good of her.
Like the eyeball.
The actual eyeball itself. It was like underneath her eyeball. So when she looked up, there was a fucking symbol on it.
There's a guy I see walking about, and he's got his full face tattooed. His full face.
Mike Tyson?
No,
the full face. You can't even see his skin color on his face.
Yeah.
Full of tattoos.
You see quite a bit of that in LA and stuff. The gangs and all that. But there was a guy again, funny talking about that as well, who had a laser surgically removed a layer of skin from his face to take off the tattoos. So they basically removed a layer of skin. Jesus. And then had to wait for the skin to grow back. Now, we're going on about the eye business. This bloody old thing here that I have had now for 10 days nearly went into my eye. Mm-hmm. And there was a risk of an ulcer developing in the eye on the cornea, which is very serious. So for anybody to go and have an eye tattooed as a nut,
But hold on, just to pick up on that. So it looks a hell of a lot better than it did.
It is.
So, and the eyes all cleared up and all. So is it just now a cut you're waiting to heal?
Yeah. It's just a big blister really now. I'm waiting to heal. So yeah. Okay. But again, you think to yourself, you're out trimming a tree or trimming a bush, pistol.
Oh,
yeah, you've trimmed a bush in your day, and got bit by a bloody old horsefly.
But funny, I was telling family about your issue, and it turns out I don't know what age she is now, 5 or 6 year old niece, Farah, was bitten in the arm by one of these flies.
And did it come up in a blister?
It was pretty bad, but it wasn't. I mean, she was running and stuff and it bit her, so it was, it was bad for enough for a child, but not as, not as bad as.
Well, I obviously had some sort of an allergic reaction to it, so. Obviously, she's been lucky, or maybe it didn't get enough time to suck.
Now you say that, last year I was out for a walk and this bug clung onto my hand and I couldn't get it off my hand. And it came up in a blister and it just like put two wee fangs into my hand and I couldn't get it out.
That's been a horsefly.
Is that what that is?
Yeah, I bet you it's been a horsefly. Clay.
And I literally had to pull it out because it was in. I had to pull it out.
Yeah. It's having this tea.
Did you have to pull yours out or had it flown off?
No, I didn't even know it was there. Sure, I had been and done the business and I continued to trim the tree. I didn't know it was there. Because they inject you with like an anaesthetic, so you don't know it's there. So you don't, and then just saw the next day like the wee red spot, obviously where it had been sucking the blood. And then
here. To go back slightly to the holiday talk, there was a video I seen this morning, which then put me off. I've already booked it, so I have to go.
It's only 60 quid.
There's a guy who came back and he opened up his case and there was a lizard inside one of his socks. He was in Mallorca and a lizard had crawled into his case.
Well, that could be worse, Pistol. That could be worse. It could be a human.
Yes.
But are the lizards in Spain?
Yeah.
Like an iguana?
It was a wee tiny thing, like he said it didn't have any teeth or anything, so it wasn't harmless, but
you think that would be
your phone
detected on the scanner?
Lizards are us. Yeah. Ghostbusters, how do you think you'd phone? I found a lizard.
Are they going to be in your room though? I can't stand anything that's like that.
You might find now, I'm being honest with you now, you might find since you've booked a tacky out hotel, you might find a few cockroaches knocking about. So you might. I was in a hotel in Mallorca 2 years ago, right? Mm-hmm. And it was coming down with, and I mean infested with ants. And they were everywhere. They were crawling over my shoes and in my clothes and everywhere. And
what'd you do?
Well, I went down and told you, man. And up came Jose and spread around it with a load of antibacterial spray or whatever you want to call it. Oh, solution. Then he buggered off. The next day they were all back again.
Am I right in thinking that there was an incident in a hotel in France where you discovered a cockroach? Was it a cockroach? And you went to reception. You went to reception and told them, and the guy followed you up and then hit it with something and went problem solved.
Yeah, he squashed it. Problem solved.
Problem solved.
Yeah. By the time we came back up to the room, it had made its way up onto the windowsill. And he squashed it with his shoe. There you go.
Oh, I don't want to go away anymore.
And then, of course, I was sick for two friggin' days or 4 days.
That's a bit I'm worried about, eating food that just isn't not, I'm not going to say isn't normal, but isn't normal for me to be eating.
Pistol, this is the problem, and this is where I'm going to go. See this carry-on of all-inclusive food and all? That's all sitting there all day. And here is the other thing, and I keep going on about him and you and bring in the buffet and all this business. All that food's being handled over by everybody before you get there.
No, listen, the money you're paying, it'll be a good enough hotel.
Yeah. Look, set aside 300 or 400 quid for medical treatment when you get back. You'll be all right. Just keep a wee pot of 300 or 400 quid that if you're needed down at the King's Bridge there, if you're rushed in with gastroenteritis or something like that.
I'm just going to stick to like plain eat. I'm not going to be trying like seafood. I'm not going to be doing any. I'm just going to go plain and just keep myself safe.
So
Enjoy
by the sound
yourself,
of things, then you'll be going up to the children's buffet. Chicken nuggets,
Yeah. Yeah.
small
But even
beef
chicken,
burger,
even,
chicken nuggets,
even
mate. And they were saying, here's the typical Northern Ireland tourist, and you'll obviously be in your flip flops and your wee shorts.
yeah. Yeah.
Like, here, do you want a cup of tea? I'd love to be. I would love to be there to watch that, Pistol. What you two would be like? And is this with a twosome away, not a threesome?
No, just two. But
Oh,
yeah.
Ooh, maybe,
Where's the baby?
maybe 2 away, 3 back.
She's staying her ground because we're taking her to Disney next year, so she's not going away this year.
Oh, I thought
You see, there's always a sting in the tail.
I thought kids went like free in some places and stuff, so I thought that's why you kept saying 2.
You've kind of almost talked me out of it now.
Well done.
But you see the way he says there about kids eat free, right? That's another thing that's popping up in the restaurants all over the place. All these so-called restaurants. Kids eat free. Kids eat free. The last place I would want to go to is one of those particular restaurants where kids eat free.
No, a lot of those
Serious?
places. No, but a lot of those places now in Dundonald that you and I would frequent are advertising kids eat free.
But the last thing you would want to be is sitting there and 15 or 20 youngsters running around the bloody place mad. Oh my God. That's the last thing I would want to.
but-
maybe
no,
maybe
but-
I'm getting old, boys. I honestly have no tolerance now at all. I just don't have the tolerance. I just can't.
Would you go over to say the parents and say something?
No.
No, I'd say to the staff. I wouldn't say to the parents.
Oh, okay.
Well, just to call it, not just to say it, we have been out a few times, and if we've been seated and somebody arrives with a young child, you have been known to move seat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What would your worst nightmare be? Sitting on a 12-hour flight with a child behind you squealing, right? Now, I sat on a flight coming back from 6 hours. Where was it coming from? Gran Canaria or somewhere, 4 hours maybe. And there was a child behind me, right? And all it did was kick the seat. Kept kicking the seat. So every time I'm sitting, my head's going forward, forward, forward. And the parents think this is acceptable. Like, Jimmy, look, do you want another ice cream? And my head's going.
You know what I hate too? When the kids in
Do you
front
turn
of you.
around and say, "Excuse me, would you stop that?" Or do you say to the trolley dolly, "Excuse me, would you stop that?"
I think that's more awkward because then you're creating more of a scene.
So what do you just sit there and keep rocking the whole way for the 6 hours?
Even if there's a loud child, everybody's thinking the same thing, like shut up. But it's the one person who addresses it that there will be an atmosphere from the same people who are thinking the same thing would go, that was out of order. But I hate whenever the child's of a certain age and they just climb up and they just stare at you over the seat.
And dribble. So what would you do? Would you turn around and say to that? Would you say, "Excuse me, darling, lovely little child, would you mind?"
Do you know why? Do you know what I love when people do? I love when people talk to their, say, partner or whoever they're with, but they talk loudly so the behind can hear. Something like really sarcastic. Like, even to say to your partner, don't you hate when people are kicking your seat? Or, speak to the other person so they hear it.
So you as a parent, Pistol, right, here's the question then. You as a parent, would you accept that? Would you class that as acceptable behaviour?
No, and thankfully that didn't happen when we were on the flight because she's not really like that anyway. But I think I would be embarrassed if.
Now, what about your daughter?
I would be embarrassed if she was doing that. I would stop her straight away. Like people who just sit back and just act like it's normal are just. What world are they in? I would feel embarrassed if they were creating havoc.
Yeah, but you see, the parents could sit back and say, well, it's keeping her occupied.
If I turned to you and I said, I'm sorry to bother you, but you wouldn't try and stop the child from kicking the back of my seat, it's awfully annoying. Whereas if I turned around and said, your child is kicking the back of, it depends how you approach it, I think.
Yeah. I think people are going to be more annoying with their phones and playing music on their phones and listen to videos out loud. And even when, like, if you're on like a train or a bus and someone's just sitting there like watching something on their phone and it's on loud, it's just that angers me more.
Yeah.
No, I don't mind that.
People loud conversations and all, people just sitting beside me in a loud conversation. You know what? Even annoys me even more is when they're on loudspeaker and they're having a conversation on loudspeaker. in
See,
public.
I have to do that. I bought a phone from a dodgy source, and whenever I just hold it to my ear, I honestly can't hear. I have to put
no.
on loudspeaker to hear.
Well, he's referring to a phone that I bought off a dodgy source in Turkey, and I think it might need the speaker cleaned. I think that's what the issue is.
So is that where you bought it?
Turkey.
That was not made clear to me at the time of purchase.
But the boy in Turkey who sold it to me actually bought it in China.
None of this was brought up.
I thought it was good value. It was 80 quid.
No, it wasn't. It was the price of his bloody holiday.
That phone probably needs the speaker cleaned, and you've obviously had it stuffed into your dirty, grimy old pocket, which is covered in dirt. And if you take it into the Bowl Apple store, they'll clean out the wee speaker for you for like $5.
You can get a wee.
Or you can get a wee thing for it, can't you?
I was going to say, you can get a wee kind of prong that you stick in, and you'd be surprised at the dirt that's in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially in your pocket.
It puts you off. Wee bits of skin and all coming out. And,
Old skin falling off you, and the same in your bed. You've all that old skin and the bed bugs coming up and nibbling away at you at night, and then you wake up and your feet, and rightly it's been the bed bugs.
Oof.
Here, talking about beds, I never got anybody to change my quilt.
Oh no.
No.
I was expecting a business idea to pop up there.
No, I stuck a wee thing on Facebook looking for somebody to come and change the quilt, but nobody bothered.
No, you didn't, did you actually?
I did.
That seems like you're looking a wee bit more.
I did, to see what happened. And my normal wee cleaner, she wouldn't do it either. She buggered off to Portugal.
She's being paid too much.
She is. I know. Every time she's around, well, where are you going next week? Portugal. All right. See you in 6 weeks. Where are you going? Gran Canaria. All right. Just back there from Enniskillen. Oh, were you? All right.
Are they worried what they're going to find when they pull the quilt?
That's quite a possibility.
Because I think there's nothing worse. If I was a cleaner, I would be fine in the whole house. But I just think there's something when it comes to something you've been lying on. It's different.
No, you know what gets it for me? It's toilets. I would honestly try. See, if I was in a bar or out for a meal, I would try never ever to use their toilet because they're stinking.
I try not to sit down. Yeah,
and you know what's even worse? Going to one of these bloody gigs and going into one of these porta cabin things. Oh Jesus!
I know. How do people make the mess? Say you go into like an Apple Green. How do people make the mess in the toilets that you find sometimes? How is that even possible?
They've had a dodgy burger in the kitchen area and went for a quick relief.
But how do you leave it like that?
I would be embarrassed. Like that? Would you lift the brush and clean the bowl?
No, but I would at least. Some people don't even flush the toilet.
Well, it still sticks.
No, there's sometimes you go into a toilet and it's just left, left to linger.
They do flush. Like
I
normally,
don't know, some people
normally you'd go into the toilet and it's been flushed. Normally, okay, but there could be. Let's use the word skitter up the bowl. Now, if you went into a toilet, right? If you went into a toilet and you lifted the lid and there was skitter up the bowl, would you use that toilet?
Yeah.
You would.
If the seat was okay,
you would. Oh, I wouldn't.
No. What I would do first, I would get the toilet roll. I would stack it. So I would stack it nicely in my hand. Make sure you get a good thickness. Stack it in your hand and put it round the seat so you're sitting on the toilet roll.
All right, but I'm talking about what's up the bowl.
Well, you're not touching the bowl, so yeah. It's
Your dangler could be down there touching something.
No, it couldn't be that. It's not that big.
Mine would.
I'd only ever pee in a public toilet.
Do you find it interesting though when you see other people's poo, right?
Oh.
And you think, how is that possible? I remember getting into the toilet once at a gig, and there were what can only resemble like remember those big German like hot dogs you get at the market.
Frankfurter.
Long.
Frankfurter.
That's what it is, Frankfurter. Yeah. And it was that, but in the toilet.
Wow.
I was like, how do you even produce that kind of thing?
But, let's be honest, it's the most disgusting thing that you do is take a crap.
I know, yeah.
And then if you think about it, you have to put your hand around there and wipe it all up. It's disgusting. You think the man who developed us back in 2024 years ago would have come up with an idea for that?
You think if the hole was a wee bit wider?
Well, that's what they always say. I'm not too sure, Pistol, now, if the hole was a bit wider. And it depends what hole you're talking about, because the other boy over there, he had a finger up his hole from the doctor. And the doctor said it wasn't wide enough. But he still enjoyed it.
But
You remember that?
do you know what's brilliant though?
What was up the doctor's fingernail?
Do you when you go, since we're on the poo topic, when you go for a poo,
Do you ever pray for your wife?
and you wipe and there's nothing there?
But that's a good clean dump.
That's a good clean one.
Yeah, that's a good
And
clean dump.
you only get like one of those in your lifetime.
Yeah, that's a good clean. Well, I think I've had two.
What?
There's a good clean dump.
Yeah.
But see, when it comes out messy and it's up the bowl, if I went into the toilet and I lifted the lid,
It's up the bowl.
I wouldn't. I go to the next toilet next door. And you know where the best place to go is, to be honest with you?
Disabled.
No, well, that one as well, but the women's ones are a lot cleaner.
Oh, you've never been in the women's toilet.
Oh, I have.
What?
Well, they're a lot cleaner. You know, they don't seem to leave them the state that we would leave them in.
What if someone sees you coming out of the women's toilet?
I call myself Pauline.
Though, funny you said, you know those unisex toilets that seem to be all the rage now in this politically correct bullshit world we now have created? They seem to be in a lot better condition.
Well, no. Look at the state of the on toilet in that club in Belfast that you would frequent quite a bit. That unisex toilet that's stinking.
You know what I noticed last week, though? I was at a gig at the SSE, and
You wouldn't go to those toilets either.
well, this particular gig attracted, something which I haven't seen in a long time. A lot of men were at the toilets, and the female toilets were completely empty, right? You never really ever see that. But whenever I went into the guys' toilets, there was a queue of men all waiting to get into the, what do you call them? The wee portable toilet?
Cubicle. The cubicle.
But I noticed as all the men went in, they kept the door open, and all they did was pull down their flies
I do that.
and have a pee in the queue.
I do that.
Now, it was backlogged like crazy, the queue, and there was a variety of empty urinals. And I don't know if this is a young man thing. I don't have a problem with the urinal, but it seemed like all these young fellas were all happy to queue to just pee into a toilet.
But they're very concerned about their bananas. You see, that's the problem. Nobody wants
I would.
your banana.
I would much prefer to walk into a cubicle, have your own space. You don't know who's beside you.
Aye, but what I'm saying is, in an ideal world, but when you've got thousands of people at a gig and you need a quick pee, you're just creating chaos.
Yeah.
So back to the other question, right? So you go to the thing and it's covered in splatter. Would you lift the brush and clean it?
Oh no! No! Wouldn't. No.
Have you ever lifted the brush out to do that?
Not for someone else's.
Have you seen the brush?
Guys, I actually feel sick.
I know. But this is my final toilet talk.
That's nearly time for dinner.
Do you know what I've nearly 3 or 4 times this year already I've seen when you're at a gig and you go, say you finished your gig, right? And you go into the toilets after, there's always someone who's been sick on the floor beside the toilet. I have seen that more times than I should have.
That's because they haven't reached the toilet, isn't it? Obviously, like.
Yeah, I just don't understand. Even if you're that blocked to even get to the bathroom, but not being able to get to the toilet.
You gotta feel sorry for those people that are meant to be cleaning those toilets.
Oh God, you couldn't.
Like,
A
it's just ridiculous.
A good friend of mine was at a stag do a couple of weeks ago on a Saturday, and then came round and joined a few of us at a bar in Belfast. And he was all right when he arrived, but let's just say he was then escorted out of the building by bouncers after he projectile vomited in the middle of the bloody nightclub bar.
Oh God, that's what a way to end this week's episode.
I think we've probably.
I'm quite concerned now because I'm off to a pint gig next Friday, right? And I've got to be very careful about my consumption of everything because the last thing I want to be doing is getting up and going to the toilet.
At the Aviva?
Yeah.
Here's the thing, right? if I'm out in public, I never need a number two. I can't recall ever in my life ever needing to do it.
Well, if you did, would you hold it till you got home?
If I did, I would hold it, yes. But I don't recall ever needing or having the urge.
Oh, I've been caught out a couple of times, and it's just
What do you mean caught out?
caught out that you need to go. You need to go for a number two. And you would always say to your female partner, or whatever. Say, for example, were you in the toilet there? Oh, yes, I was, and I just hovered. They were stinking. We can't hover.
I know. How do you have leg strength to be able to hover and do whatever at the same time?
Could you hover, Pistol, and push at the same time?
No. It'd be up my back if I hovered.
I'm gonna try it.
Hover and push.
I'm gonna try it.
It'll never work for you. You try hovering and pushing at the same time.
Let us know how it goes next week.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm at the stage now. I get shouted at for going to the toilet in the house.
You're living in a prison, Pistol?
Because she said it smells in here, and I was like, I've just been for a poo.
Pistol. That's the sign of a relationship struggling. You should have discussed all these things before you moved in.
But okay, and here's number two then. No, that was number two. This is number three. How can I put this politely? If I pass wind in front of her.
But that's very rude. You shouldn't do that.
Well, maybe you should get checked out by a doctor. I don't know.
No, it needs to come out when you feel it coming.
Allegedly. But look, think of the benefits, Pistol. Those are only little tedial matters. Think of the dinners that are made, and think of the love making, and think of all those things that come with living with a partner and all this. So the
fact that you put the dinners
of
love making.
The odd fart shouldn't really make a difference. But look, here's the other thing. If you were living in a foreign country, if you didn't fart or burp, it doesn't show you've appreciated the meal.
Oh, that's a very good point.
So you can just say, well, I really love that.
So when I'm in Mallorca, is that acceptable?
Well, I think you've been doing more than farting in Mallorca, Pistol, to be honest with you. I think.
But I remember my mom used to always have a go at my dad, when he did it. And he used to always say, what do you want me to do? And she always used to say with a straight face, take yourself off and go and stand in the back garden.
Or stand in the corner. But can I give you a bit of advice, Pistol? Get you on the Amazon there and you buy a couple of toilet brushes and take them with you out to Mallorca.
That bad?
Yeah. Well, after you've had 2 or 3 meals, you'll be... Because don't lift the one in the hotel. Bring your own.
No, but I think if it's an all-inclusive, it's a package deal. They're used to UK people coming over. Mm-hmm. It's a well-run ship, I think.
Yeah, and don't forget those UK people that have had their arses on that toilet before you arrived.
Right. Anyway, thanks for listening, and if you can hit the subscribe button, please do that.
Yep.
If you can find it.
Or in this case, the flusher.
Yep. I will see you next week.
Bye.